Hello and welcome to the 108th Dev Update. Today we have a very special guest that joins us from the Sigmanauts mining pool and the Ergo ecosystem. We have Marc the Shark, not to be confused with other Marks in the ecosystem. This is Marc the Shark. How you doing today, Marc?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Hanging in there, hanging in there. I appreciate you coming on the show today to talk about this.
Yeah, of course.
So, Marc, why don't we start off with the basics? All right. What brought you to Ergo? Why are you here? When did you come in? How long you been here? All those kind of good little tidbits.
Yeah, I think I first heard about Ergo maybe in 2021. Did some research, saw sort of people with their videos and sort of the hype, I would say, behind it, like, oh hey, it could hit sort of these prices. Probably maybe typical of some people, but then the sort of mining sort of idea really kind of captured my attention, where instead of just investing in a specific token coin, you can buy hardware. You can then take that hardware and either point it at different chains. But specifically, I really liked Ergo just from a investment perspective to mine it. And then slowly and so that was in 2021, and then slowly kind of it grew on me, so to speak, the community, just all the kind of developments kind of over time. And then I kind of became solely mining Ergo for Ergo by Ergo, so to speak. And so I was, and so then, my investments started, I realized, hey, this is me an investment. I should really sort of pay attention to this. So then I did, cost benefit analysis. And then eventually I went from, 3D printing my own GPU card holders, that would go like sort of like on a rack, to then, getting server cases. Now I have like 21 cards, nothing super crazy. I've got more on the way, but again, just kind of seeing the investment opportunity, but also it's sort of like a passion project, just in a sense of it's a lot of fun to mine. It's a lot of fun doing 3D printing. It's a lot of fun to, the computers. And so kind of taking a lot of my skills sort of together, mashing them. And then now, of course, developing on the SIG mining pool.
Don't jump the gun, Marc. Okay. We're not there yet.
Fair enough.
What's your wife think of all your mining rigs in your house?
Oh yeah, thumbs up. She just gave me. She loves it. She supports me, and I kind of broke it down to her, and she's like, "Oh man, you should maybe get some more rigs and more stuff." And
I don't believe that. No, sorry. You've been here 5 minutes. You're already telling lies, Marc.
No, I'm serious. I mean, it was a bummer, though. I will say, in some sense, just like from an investment perspective, again, going back to that. So I bought Vega 56s and 64s at the time of 2021, $750, $700. Now they're on eBay for $100, $150. So a loss is severe in investment. Whereas I could have maybe bought, I guess, a Bitcoin miner, and it would be maybe potentially profitable. But of course, I took profits when it was around maybe like $14, $15, bought more cards. And so I rolled it back into that and stuff. But, my wife, she believes in my conviction and everything that I've told her about it. And so she's running with it.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Marc. Yeah. So I got my hands on two AMD Radeon 7s.
Nice.
So those I think by default those would pump out 350, 250 to 350 or something like that. So pretty nice. And I got them in like 2019 or 2020. So when the pandemic hit, I looked on eBay when prices were getting crazy. Those things were like $1,800 or 2,000. I was like, are you kidding me? This is like crazy. But now you can get like a used one for like $300 on eBay. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's tough. You either sell and be done with it, or you just eat it and keep going and keep trucking.
Right. And then not to mention too, from like, I think there was something, I forget the specifics, but there was something that changed within the algorithm, I think in Auto Lycos, to where, or maybe in the miner, but a Vega was like 170, maybe 180 mega hash per second. But now due to some like update within the cards, or again, I'm not really sure the specifics. Now it's like 130, again, at full power or whatever, but mine are sort of optimized thanks to one of the guys in the Sigmanauts mining pool, but which is now like 111, but I'm at 85 watts, which is like fantastic. So again, it got strung up two ways, but again, in it for the long haul. So, you know, these little disturbances, you know, from the day to day, so to speak, shouldn't be a big worry down the road. So
Yeah. So what so I honestly, maybe I'm just a little blind, but I don't think I've seen you hanging around the main chats very much, right? And so do you usually chat in the main chats for since 2021?
yeah, I did have an account on Twitter that I abandoned for whatever reason. I think it was like tied to like me like personally, and I was, you know, from some aspect shit posting and doing all this other stuff, and I was just like, I don't want to get that tied to me. And
Yeah.
so I was like, let me create a new one that's a little bit more presentable, so to speak. You know what I mean? So if I am like, for example, like some job applications are asking for your Twitter account now, so it's like, all right, I want to show a little bit more respectable. But yeah, Discord, I don't know, I was kind of averse from it, just from like a little bit, just because it was like, I was always just seemed to me like it was just a lot to keep up, you know, all these different messages, rather than like I could go to somebody's tweet, for example, and then just like look at that, look at all the comments relative to that specific subject. And like just a lot was happening, I guess, in my life where it's just like I don't really have time to kind of look at all these different chats, read like five
Yeah.
messages. So, but as
Yeah.
of late, I'm realizing the importance of it. So I'm in there
Yeah,
exposed.
so what did trigger that? Yeah, so I can see like Twitter's more of a stationary target where you can consume it on your own time. In Discords, if like we have that complaint a lot of time in the SIGs, somebody will come in and be like, how am I supposed to keep up with 800 messages? I
Right.
just put the phone down for like 5 hours kind of thing. So yeah, I can understand that. What was your trigger? So that's a big thing that we have difficulty with, and in at least mining in Ergo. It's we have a separate channel for Ergo miners. But it's really hard for us to get out there and engage those guys to let them know that, you know, because Ergo is built to give power to the miners. You can change certain parameters in things to make it more beneficial for the miners, to raise TX fees, those kind of things. So that's something that we've been trying to push for a long time and try to get the miners to really care about that. What was a trigger for you? What made you think, hey, if this is something that I'm doing, I've got 20 cards dedicated to it. Maybe, you know, I can change it for the better. What was that trigger, I guess?
Yeah. I would say I've been wanting to develop on Ergo for a while, but it just like I know there's tutorials, I know there's like all these different resources, but like again with my skills, it just like wasn't obvious. So like and it just seemed like a lot just for like one person to do. So it was like so on Twitter at least that's where it started for me, to where it was like I was very outspoken. I was like, hey, I want to try to do this. And then I think you guys noticed that, and then you guys brought me in. And then I raised my hand again, so to speak, and I was like, hey, I want to develop. These are my skills. Can you guys point me to do something? Because it's not really obvious for me to kind of, because like right now we're going to get to it, but develop the UI. So if I wanted to do the UI, but then I would have to do the mining pool part. And then that was a little, and I read some tutorials and stuff, but it's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse. And again, you know, I'm a dad now, I'm a husband, I've got a day job, you know, I've got animals to take care of. There's a lot to kind of do, and plus
Hmm.
started. And so I'd say, so I guess, yeah, going from Twitter being very outspoken of like, hey, I want to try to do this. And other people were kind of chiming in like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. You guys took notice. And then I raised my hand again, like, hey, these are my set of skills. What would be helpful for the community? And you guys were like, hey, build a dashboard. And I'm
Oh,
like,
we
in my
latched on with our fangs hard there,
yeah.
buddy.
But I was waiting for it too, you know. So
All right, so let's talk about that. Um, let's talk about what you developed. So you did. So for those of the people that don't know, we've been working on a Sigmanauts mining pool for quite a while. We've run it. It was running on a machine behind this monitor, actually, that I'm looking at, for a while, and then we are getting some high ping times and some stale shares from people across the ocean and across the other side of the country. So we decided to move it to a cloud server recently. And so far, pings are pretty good for everybody. We just enabled TLS this morning. So if you want to encrypt and make sure there's no middleman attack there, you can connect that way. We've got it on a server with backups and everything. So we feel we're doing pretty well. We're waiting on Cheese to finish the storage rent as well. And in the meantime, we've had this need for some sort of dash. I built a very shitty rudimentary dash that kind of just put black text on a white background with a little bit of blue shading just so people could see some basic stats. And then Mark here has really blown the dash out of the water. And the goal that we had for this the mining pool was that we realized until Lithos comes along, we have to have some sort of centralized entity, right, running mining core and doing payouts and those kind of things. So besides the fact that we're going to try to distribute those server keys to a few trusted members so that it's in more than one hand, the idea was we wanted people to be able to not have to rely on a central entity to look up their stats. So the challenge that we gave to Mark was, hey, can you build this dashboard that people can just run on their own machines and not have to worry about a web server or something else or somebody else running something? And that's exactly what he did. And Mark, I'm gonna take people to it right now to show them. Let's see.
Okay, sweet. And we got a lot more updates coming, so should be fun.
So this is the start of the dashboard. We have some stats up here about the hash rate, pool hash rate, total hash rate. Mark's machines are down right now. Usually we're running around, looks like we have two of our big members down right now, running around 12, 13 gigahash. And this is it. We've got some stats. We've got a nice graph of hash rate over time for me. We have some blocks found by miners, top miners by hash rate, and estimated rewards as well here, which is great, and block effort over time. And you can see this first this first effort was a little tough when we moved pools, Mark. 2.8.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough indeed.
Not everybody migrated at the same time. We had like
Right.
4 or 5 gigahash for the first 3 days, and then somebody came on, it was like 9, and then it went up to 13 for the last 2 days. It got to the point where you guys were saying, hey, QX, can you make sure your mining core config is correct? And so Cheese and I looked at it, we're pretty sure it's correct. And then boom, this morning we just got our first block on the new pool. So that's really good. But this is good. Why don't you tell us what you do, how you wrote this? What'd you write it in?
Yeah, so I wrote it in Python. It's using Dash as the library. And so that's built on Flask, and so allows for the really easy local interface to kind of be developed. And then using the pools API, pretty much I'm just querying the data, shaping the data how we need, which is like a specialty of mine. And so that was super easy. And then from there, just making the web app or the dashboard, which I haven't really done, which was great because I do really well by learn by doing. So give me a task and let's see what happens.
And you Dockerized it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so containerized it. So pretty much very similar to, I wanted it to be very easy for the users that weren't really familiar. And what I've seen in the community to kind of copy, so to speak, was the Rosen Bridge in the Watchers. And so that was super easy. I have mine set up. And so again, I was like, oh, let's just copy that sort of methodology in the implementation. And so that was really, really straightforward to set up. So once I had the dashboard built, containerized it, and then yeah, it's on Docker, ready to go for anybody.
And it's one of the easiest Docker installs I've done. It's it just pop the folder and you don't even have to do anything in the config, right? It's ready to go.
Right.
Don't change anything, just pull it down, go in the folder, Docker compose up.
Yeah, exactly.
You're done, and then you just paste your address in the top thing. So it's extremely easy. If any miners are also watchers, and they're familiar with running Dockerized apps, this is completely 10 times easier than that. All right, so what are our plans for the future, Mark? What are your plans, at least for the dash? Give me the dashboard plans in the future.
Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, so for the dashboard, right now we kind of have like, there's no like homepage, so to speak, where I've seen Cannon Q really likes the Viper mining dashboards, and I think they look really good too. And part of that is like, there's like a little page, gives you some stats on the overall pool. I think that'd be very helpful. And then once you have that, put in your address, and then boom, then the whole dashboard comes up. And so I probably could plan on maybe taking some of those ideas from them, adding some icons relative to the stats and that sort of thing. And then maybe even, so that I'm making right now, it's in Dash. There's another tool called Streamlit, that looks a little bit more, I guess, sexier, so to speak, if you could say, for, you know, just looks a lot nicer in terms of like the UI interface. And so going to start experimenting with that. And so I would say that's kind of, and then there's like some Easter eggs I want to add. So today we were in the Six Mining chat. We were talking about some people have a problem with their workers not being named. So I'm going to make a default name, and kind of a sort of, not a joke, but maybe a meme, so to speak, is like QX Fan Club. So I'm going to default
Was
your.
that you? Was that you that did that?
No, I think that was Gray Coat. So I thought that was hilarious. And
That was
so we
funny.
probably,
I was moving pools, and there's still somebody on the old pool, and I was looking through the console, and there goes worker, miner and worker, and said QX Fan Club. I was like, oh god.
yeah, it's hilarious. So it's kind of like an Easter egg, you know, maybe for some
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, moving forward. And then potentially I want to add some sort of like confetti or something like that, of like, hey, we found a block, and it's like, woo, you know, and then that kind of leads us in, at least what I would like to do, leads us into the ephemeral token sort of bit, where we can sort of read from the blockchain specific sets of data that will then drive the UI. But I would like to maybe have, and help, it would maybe help development of the pool itself, but create some sort of NFT. So then the NFT has these different traits, and then those traits then derive from, or rather feed into the dashboard. So for example, if you wanted like the background of the UI to be like QX Fan Club, QX Fan
Oh,
Club,
shut
all,
up. Why
you know
did
what
you
I mean?
talk about this? This is the first time I've heard about this. So you can actually change the configuration of your mining dashboard just by holding NFTs of a certain config in your wallet. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. I posted in the Six Mining shop, but maybe you didn't read it. But it's
I
kind of
guess
like
I
this
did.
we were talking. So maybe, and I don't know if that makes sense. I think we kind of need to workshop it a little bit still. But you know,
No, that's
the one idea is like, so if we have seasons, we could have, okay, we could maybe take a certain percentage of the pool fee, and then maybe reward somebody who's got like the most mining blocks found. Or, you know, you could have somebody who's like the least mining blocks found. Again, just kind of like making it more fun for just like
dude, this is genius. This is fantastic. I mean,
yeah, just
not just the fact that you can do that kind of thing by reading from the blockchain to get those configs, but I mean, you know, how many times do you know, have a config somewhere at some website, and then you wiped your cookies for some of the, or your data, your browser cache data, and then everything's gone. Like with this, it's like they're there, they're gonna be there, they're always stuck in your wallet. If you want to change a config, just send it to a temporary, a second wallet or something to
yeah.
pull it out. I love that, man. That's exciting. This is
Yeah, it's
very
kind of like
exciting.
the Slum Doge was talking, you know, memifying some things. And I think maybe not like that's the right, say, terminology here, but I think it adds like a fun aspect to just like pointing your rigs. You know, you could just like, oh, look at my mining UI. And it's like, again, you can maybe, instead of like, we found a block, instead of confetti, maybe again, going off of QX Fan Club, it's like a photo of your face, and it's like all
Oh,
over the
please don't.
screen or something. You know what I mean? So, and then maybe there's only like 5 of those NFTs, right? Or, you know, or something like that. And they're rotated every season, or I don't know. Again, still need to work through the specifics, but then that allows like an avenue for the UI to, one, help be developed, but then also we can give back to the community, because we can also take some of these funds that are going to that to then give to the people that are like, hey, let's reward the person who has like the most blocks. But again, with that could be maybe not for high hash rate, it could be low hash rate. And like, or like you could think of it as like in UFC, there's like weight limits. So we could
Mhm.
have weight limits, so to speak, on the hash rate. And then so somebody between 500, 0 and 500, you know, who found the most blocks
Yep,
between
yep.
them? 500 to 1,000, etc. So you get the kind of idea. So, and then I think that kind of idea we can kind of run wild with it, kind of creating a lot of little fun. And then again, kind of building on that, somebody could like, oh, I want to bet, you know what I mean, on somebody finding the most. Again, it's all probability, so it's
Yeah.
not really, you know, but you could just have fun with it and make an arbitrary bet, so to speak. You could get raffles involved. I think there's a lot of a lot to it that we could add to it.
You can also fuck with people too by sending like your own background of some joke thing to their
Yeah,
mining wallet. So the next
Yes,
time
yes,
they
yes.
open their mining dashboard, it's your face plastered all
Right. That's hilarious. Didn't even think about
little
that.
sabotage. That'd be awesome. Wow, that's very exciting. Dang. So yeah, so that's a big hurdle. We got to figure out. Well, those are more persistent NFTs. I
Right.
still have to work out. I was gonna bug MG Pi to see if I can get him to pay him to start developing some sort of imperial token, and then figure out how the data set's going to go on that and still be essentially stored. So it'll have to work in that. We don't want to delete history from the miner from a year ago, but we also don't want that to be one of 5,000 NFTs in his wallet. So perhaps we may need to roll up some of the data once a month, and that goes in as a historical NFT that's persistent and not a Emperor token that goes away kind of thing. So this
Yeah,
stuff's
exactly.
exciting. Now I'm
Yeah.
even more excited than I was before, Mark.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun.
So I think this will go a long way into my next question. Is this is the kind of stuff I think that we can use to pull miners in and make them have fun, and then before they know it, they might care about changing parameters on the chain and being involved in those kind of decisions.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because it's just like a starting point. I think, so to speak, you got to have a light to attract some moths. Not to say like moths are bad or anything, but just again, like I think adding fun to something and kind of getting like some momentum about it, and then like kind of seeing what other people are doing. Because again, like you have these other pools like Wooly Pulley, Two Miners, and those are great. You know what I mean, for what they are, but if you're like super like into the community, the ecosystem, you want to like maybe talk to other people, this is the great opportunity to kind of like, again, a moth to the flame. And so like, hopefully we can be doing that with this.
Yeah, I can't wait to keep going, man. This is awesome.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
thank you. The Sigmanaut miners, Sig Mining Group, thanks you tremendously for what you've done. And I think, right, we're gonna pull you into the Sig cans later tonight when I can get my act together
Yeah.
and invite you into the chat. So that's gonna be awesome. All right, that's great. You want to dive in to see what's up for the dev update this week?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let me switch to that view. All right. I'll start off. With Rosen Bridge. Here we go. Um, Rosen Bridge scanner, EVM observation extractor is implemented. Rosen Chains EVM implementation is ongoing. Bitcoin Explorer Network implemented. They had that announcement. That's really cool. We can say Bitcoin requirements on guard service are implemented. Next step is UI. Improve change box creation on Ergo Chain, generating 2 change boxes instead of 1 to improve handling events. Codes under review. Rosen Bridge Utils, EVM Universal Rosen Extractor is implemented. Change TX format and EVM RPC Rosen Extractor. Rosen Bridge TX pot, add function to unregister validators and callbacks. Support registering multiple callbacks and validators using ID. Add submit validator, a function that will be called before TX submission, and if returns true, TX will be submitted. Add function to register submit only validator, validates TX for submit, example checking fee before submit and EVM chains, and add function only update extra columns. I feel the stress that must come from trying to integrate into an EVM chain from ETXO. That's I don't wish that on anybody. Then we've got the Rosen Bridge, Rosen app, investigate different solutions for Bitcoin and Rosen app. They'll add an XDeFi wallet, integrations ongoing. There's also other solutions to use Electrum and similar wallets, but it's very complex and not suitable for normal users. We'll investigate it more in the next week's, not a priority. So yeah, Rosen just had a killer update this week. Have you been following that?
Yeah, I have. And unfortunately, I don't have Wi-Fi, so I can't update my watches or anything.
Oh,
So.
you're a watcher. That's fantastic. Yeah, so at least with the guard set, it was fantastic. We all met at a certain time. We did these configs in succession all at the same time, or around the same time, and then we pushed it, brought the network back up, and then the watchers did their thing and they updated as well. So it was just amazing to be part of that and to think, okay, in the future, this could be, 50 guards or 60 guards or 70 guards all doing this at once. And the beauty of the system too is, we only have to have a consensus to get things done. So right now there are 10 guards. And so a couple of them couldn't make it, of course. So we rolled with 7 of them and we did it. 7, brought the network back up with that, and we're good. And the other 3 will just catch up when they get to their computer. Same with watches. Your watch is down, you just catch up and do it when it comes up. So it was super cool to be part of that. And the whole time I'm doing it, I'm thinking, okay, if this were like some central entity, okay, it would just be like a couple guys cranking it out next to each other and saying fuck a few times and then tweaking some stuff and doing it. This has to be like this orchestration, this like almost like a player, a symphony, to be able to do this, and all these kind of moving parts to be able to do it. It's just really almost like, I'm not comparing it to, but almost like the first time you saw both stages come down at once from SpaceX. It's like the amount of engineering that it needed to be able to do that and have them both come down at the same time there was amazing. And I get the same kind of feeling here during that process. We have 77 times 2 watchers that are doing these updates. We have 10 guards right now. They said soon, at some point 100 guards. Just the orchestration that is going to get me all tingly as far as that goes.
Yeah, right. It's very cool to see. Inspiring.
And the thing that I love most too is that you're taking people that have never run Docker before, that don't even know how to jump into their terminal, and they're creating these tutorials and videos and just getting these people interested in just getting their toes wet so they can know how to do this. And it's funny, the update started with just do Docker compose pull, Docker compose down, Docker compose up D. And then it got a little complicated. Tweak this file here, tweak this. And then the last one is a little bit more complicated with this version 2 upgrade, but people are doing it. I'm so impressed that people are able to do this. It really is.
Yeah, the community say jump, we're saying how high, right? Or you're saying.
Yeah. You got it. All right, why don't you take the SIG update here?
Sweet. Yeah, so pass vote on PAI, recommendations on Market Maker, and petition to EF to manage Market Maker. Couple new proposals such as Mexi Slayer was voted into SIGs. SIG's mining pool has shifted to hosted/cloud server and has resulted in better ping times and management. Let's see, more SIG's mining pool working on TLS and SSL connections.
Which we have. Yep.
Woo-hoo. And then as well as we will have storage rent harvesting capabilities, and that's going to be amazing. Another marketing capability for the pool. Like, who else has that? So again, that's going to be awesome. And then Eva has been translating a ton of items. Any projects need translations, reach out to SIGs.
Yeah, Eva does Chinese translations in all the Chinese chats. It's been fantastic. Cool. Every week she comes into the SIGs meeting and posts that all the translations she's done. It's very helpful. Very awesome. Great. Let's see. Louis Vatra, and I've made a vow. Every time we talk about Louis Vatra's projects, we have to say the word "when" before them. He gets really happy when we do that. So Louis Vatra with when Paideia. Continuing documentation, making contracts MVP ready, meaning he's cutting out unfinished features, making config values as dummy proof as possible, storage rent protection, dedicated update transactions. With when Crux, he's improved Crux insight syncing by using blocks, header blocks to fetch transactions multiple blocks at a time. Oh, great. That'll be faster with that. Fantastic. Do you poke around Crux at all with your wallet?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't do the sign-in thing just because, I don't know, I'm personally kind of sketched out when you got to authorize and sign, but that's just me. But I do track my entire wallets with their non-logging in capabilities, and it's absolutely amazing. I love awesome. I'm like refreshing it every day.
Oh, you got the man himself, Kushti. Go for it.
Yeah, so let's see. Ergo protocol R&D mostly checked with what kind of refactoring needed in Sigma and Ergo repos for sidechain implementation. Did some progress towards Sigma map implementation. Still not ready for review though. Checked 5021 RC. I think it's good to go along with that pull. Got more feedback on 5.1. Teams can be released as experimental and pre-releases on GitHub to avoid messing with Docker and such Ergo. Gold, Oracle, and Dexy, modified Gort dev emission contracts, updated Oracle core according testing it, found some issues in buyback, off-chain code in the Oracle core on the way. And then we got Sigma USD, worked with Colby on updating kiosks and bank update tests in Sigma USD repo, made V2 contracts, made V2 contract modification with minting limits. And then would be happy to get feedback on Gist.
And they've been testing the Dexy front end for a bit now on testnet, I think for a week. So anybody that's interested in helping out, I think it's still live. I know Kushti had said that he was taking a lot of the feedback that he's gotten already back to make those improvements. So that's good. It's always, if you have time, guys, check that out. All right, we've got Colby Cellador with Ergo Node, Ergo Core Publishing Fixed Merge, Sigma USD, Scala Hub's Kiosk, Library for Ergo Scripts Testing renewed and moved to Ergo Platform. First update test suite finished.
Nice.
Let's see. We got to scroll a little bit. Looks like we got Liquid Phase for you.
Okay, sweet. So looks like terahertz.fm created wireframe / mockups in Figma. Canon brought up onto team as administrative help, mind map help, chatting with new UI UX designer prospects who has really nice portfolio. Most front-end people talking to me, only design orientated, Figma design only, which between myself and this potential new hire are now fairly covered. I really need a code orientated front-end dev who can run with the designs created in Figma and then turn them into component / create the effects and states transitions for them. That makes sense. Degens and Dragons aim to recreate the functionality of the role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons. Very cool. But for Degens on the blockchain, love that. Map out pseudocode for the needed smart contracts for the Degens and Dragons. That's such a great name.
He's really good at coming up with those, yeah.
Collectibles / creatable character cards, upgradable stats via the UTXO registers, RNG dungeon generation / dice rolls, smart contract, dungeon master. Looking for more team on this. Someone who is very familiar with picture NFT collection / sales on Ergo already. Very cool.
Yeah, one of the things Liquid was interested in too was making, I think he was pointing towards making for dice rolls, random number generators and putting it on the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another biggie that would be a big use case. You could probably sell to other chains as well through some sort of Oracle feed. So super nifty. Let's see. I think we have one last one. Josemai with the reputation system, which was part of one of the Ergo hacks. No news. Made some progress with the Rust library. Now conducting tests on the new contract implementation. And let's see. I think that is it. Oh, we have this one right here down. Liquid Phase made a comment. He said, QX, I'm noticing a rising trend in your current dev update guests. And he's got a picture of beards. So I'm so glad that we continued the trend with your beautiful beard, Mark.
Thank you. Yeah, I see it now. Oh man.
All right, so that wraps up the reading part. What do you say? You got anything any more nuggets of wisdom you want to drop on the dev community or the Ergo community?
Yeah, I would just say, if anybody that wants to develop, just raise your hand, really. Just the community can point you to something, or, maybe mentor somebody, or, whatever. Like for me, for example, I've learned really well by doing. And so just even if you're not comfortable with doing something, I think people are there and willing to kind of mentor you, so to speak. And so just got to raise your hand. So
there's lots of holes to fill too, and not just the SIGs mining pool. Like Mike THCFM could always use some front end and designers for helping out on his projects and those kind of things. So yeah, don't be afraid to try it out. I mean, not everybody's looking for somebody with like the skill level and experience of Kushti. If you have some ability and you're good at learning and you want to learn and you want to be involved in this kind of stuff, then try it. You can't get, like, I remember, let's take HQ. I remember when HQ first came to the chain, you know, he was doing his best to do like a aggregator site, and he was using this like prepackaged kind of thing. And now the guy's like making these crazy bots. He's working with Crux Finance, and you know he's come leaps and bounds above when he started. And it's only been you know, over a year or so. So that's the kind of thing that we like to see here. You know, you come in, you get your toes wet, you dig in, and then you grow with us, and you know, you increase that way. So yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. 1% a day, you know, get better 1% a day, compound that interest, and see a lot of great things happen.
Exactly. All right, Mark. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and hopefully, let's invite everybody to the Sigmanauts mining chat if they want to come and just hang out. It's cool to build a community there, even if you're not a miner. You know, mining's an important part of Ergo, of course, being proof of work. So we'd love to see you there and hang out, offer suggestions, and hey, you never know. You might want to fire up like your gaming card at nighttime when nothing else is happening, and just point it and help out the network a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thanks for having me.
All right, thanks so much, man. I'll see you later.
All right. Take care. See ya.